After 12 months of hard-charging, fender-banging, and jaw-dropping Grand Touring racing action, it all comes down to a 100-lap dash to the finish line. 12 different drivers fighting for 2 class championships in the climax of the inaugural season of the FMGTC. Hello out there, we're on the air, and it's race day today in the Golden State. It's a balmy Wednesday Christmas afternoon in Riverside, California, as we welcome you to the Riverside International Raceway for the 12th and final stop of the 2024 Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship, the California Christmas Classic. And a pleasant good afternoon, Merry Christmas, and Happy Holidays to everyone tuning in to today's season finale of the inaugural season of the FMGTC, with live coverage provided on the North American Sim Racing Network. And for the final time this season from high in the sky in the press box, my name is Trey Wright for the NASRN. 100 laps are all that remain in the maiden season of the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. And what a first season it has been. 11 races with 21 different winners across both classes. And like we said, it all comes down to a century of laps around the legendary Riverside Raceway, our second race in California this season. And after what can only be described as a survival race at Autumn Hill last month on Thanksgiving that saw Skylar Taylor and Juan Rodriguez take the top spots for GT Le Mans and GT Daytona, we have our penultimate look at the point standings going into the season finale today. Starting with GT Le Mans, 3 drivers come in with a mathematical chance at winning the championship as you take a look at them on your screen. 2 of them with a realistic shot marked in green. Jaden Russell comes in with a 49-point lead over Eric Monaco after the bloodbath that was Autumn Hill last month. Russell just needs a top 10 finish to claim the first ever championship for GTLM. Monaco conversely needs to finish 10 spots ahead of Russell to swoop in and steal it. Both drivers starting towards the back of the GT Le Mans field, Monaco in 15th, Russell in 18th. Sebastian Palmer was looking to make this a 3-way fight for the title before going for a horrifying ride in the 20 car in Autumn Hill, and due to that crash, he sits 90 points behind Russell and pretty much needs a miracle to occur here today at Riverside. That 20 car starts ahead of both drivers in the 12th spot. We'll see what Palmer is able to do in his Napa Corvette. Conversely, GT Daytona is an entirely different story as we look at their point standings going into Riverside. 9 drivers have a mathematical chance at claiming the title, and the top 4 in that category all within 20 points of one another. Michael Brown leads the way by only 6 points over both Igor Barreto and John Stewart. The 14 and the 98 tied in the point standings for second, and are 6 points behind the 25 machine. And for the first time in 5 races, Dylan Matthews is not the points leader going into a race, but she is still in the fight, only 16 points behind the 25 after having issues over the last couple of weeks. Brown starts in 16th, Barreto 11th, Stewart in 8th, and Matthews in 6th. Then the 3 marked in yellow are Blake Bavillier, Dustin Davis, and Juan Rodriguez. Have fairly decent shots but need a lot to go right, and need the top 4 to all run into issues if they want to fight for the title. Bavillier starts the best of that trio all the way up in 4th, Davis deep in the field in 15th, and Rodriguez even deeper in 20th. And finally, Colin Bear and Daniel Bouchard are still mathematically eligible for the championship, but much like Sebastian Palmer, they need a couple of Christmas miracles to occur today. Bouchard does start on the pole for GT Daytona, which is a good start. We'll see what he is able to do with that pole position in the 8 machine, while Colin Bear rounds out the top 5 in 5th in the number 9 McDonald's Viper. A lot to go over for today's finale, and once again, we would like to thank everyone for tuning in to today's race and every race of this inaugural season of FMGTC competition. And you guys aren't going to have to wait too long, as we'll be back in about a month's time down in Daytona. We'll rack them back up and send them off running again for the 2025 Mike's Hard Lemonade Daytona 2.4. But that is then, and this is now, and it is once again that time of the broadcast again, ladies and gentlemen. For the final time this season, let's go down trackside to get the most famous words in motorsports to kick off the FMGTC season finale, the California Christmas Classic.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the engines roared to life on the pit lane at Riverside. We are just moments away from dropping the green flag for today's race. Dano Georgi and Logan Williams make up row number 1 for GT Le Mans. Georgi sitting on the pole in the number 84 Oakley Corvette. Logan Williams on his outside in the number 6 Muscle Milk XKR. The whole field will roll off of the pit lane. Taking a look in here for GT Daytona, like we said, the number 8 machine of Daniel Bouchard sits on pole, looking for his second win of the Golden State this year. The Willow Springs winner sitting in position number 1 in his Coca-Cola Mustang. Starting next to him in the number 22, sporting some new paint for the season finale, is Tatiana Nagora. The number 22 Pennzoil Viper sits in second for GT Daytona. We get a look of everybody rolling off. There is Dylan Matthews in the 26. Michael Brown starting deep in the field for GT Daytona as well in the 25. Look back in here for the GT Le Mans Championship eligible drivers. They are right next to each other in the frame. Eric Monaco in the 2 and Jaden Russell in the 8. As the field will go down the chute towards turn number 7, taking a look at the track itself. It's a 2.62 mile, 9-turn course at Riverside that, much like Autumn Hill, is a standard Grand Prix track with sweeping corners, long straights, and another messy set of S's through turns 2 through 5. That'll be where the action is all this afternoon. The S's lead into a tight braking zone in turn 6, a short chute up into 7, and then onto this long drag strip between 7 and 8, where the drivers will enter the carousel in turns 8 and 9 and complete a lap here at Riverside. And it will be 100 of those winding laps around Riverside this afternoon, making up today's difference. Pit window for both classes is about 34 to 36 laps. So once again, 2 crucial pit stops are in order for today's contest. Glad you could join us here on a balmy Christmas afternoon in Central California, where 42 cars, 21 Le Mans, 21 Daytonas will take the green flag for the final time in this inaugural season of the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. Chevy Corvette pace car leads the field through the carousel. It'll make the hard right-hand turn down onto the pit lane. Georgi Williams will lead this field 42 strong to the green flag, and there it is, waving in the Central California air. Green flag and white flag are in the air for the final time in 2024. Already a couple of drivers going 3 wide off for the start, and Jaden Russell on the outside of that 3 wide is Dustin Davis and Micah Knapp. Hard off-road. Same thing for the 2. Eric Monaco's got a check up in that 2 machine. Going in through the S's. Dustin Davis hard off track. Monaco leaning on the 59. He is into the wall, and around goes the 2 machine. And that may have just been the championship for GT Le Mans, decided right there on the opening lap. And unlike NBC in 2017, for the IndyCar finale, we were able to capture that as Jaden Russell gonna try to cruise to victory in this 8 machine. Still a long way to go, but Dustin Davis will see his road to the championship end on lap number 1. Micah Knapp is also going to end in the 56. Eric Monaco, not the start that you want as he tries to make his way back through this GT Daytona grid. Tough break for the 2 machine. But again, it is a long way to go, a long way to get there. This race is far from over. Dano Georgi and Caleb Rose, the 2 top spots here in GT Le Mans. This field goes into this heavy braking zone in turn number 6. We'll look back in here for GT Daytona. Michael Brown right now showing the way of the championship leaders. Rather, the 26. Actually, Michael Brown got shuffled on the start. A 26 car, Dylan Matthews right now next to John Stewart for the championship lead in GT Daytona. Stewart only has 10 points over Dylan Matthews, but right now he would be the champion the way things run on lap number 2. As Nathan Buchanan issues in the 99 car as well. Same thing for Alex Lozano. I believe those two got together as Buchanan is on the pit lane. And once again, this race all about the start. And not the start you want. For Eric Monaco is Blake Bavillier and Colin Bear off track. They're both able to save it for now. Bavillier in through the sand. And around goes Igor Barreto in the 14. Barreto nearly getting run over by the one of Lynn. Logan Alexander turning him around as well. Barreto able to get back into the gears as the 33 of Roberto Crown Jr. off course. Holy Toledo, what a start for both classes in this race, and it's all happening behind the 84 and the 5. Jaden Russell right now getting behind this 6 car, being held up by Logan Williams. Russell just trying to pick him off one at a time as Dylan Matthews has gotten around the 98 of John Andrews. Showing the right way right now for GT Daytona is the 8. Oh, Nathan Orman off track. Can he save it? He cannot. Back up through traffic, nearly clipping the 26 and right in front of John Stewart. Stewart destroyed in the 98 machine, and that'll be the end of his day. All I can say is I am not surprised in the slightest, as John Stewart, who has been tiptoeing through the tulips all season long, the quietest championship-eligible driver, knocked out here on lap number 4 by a driver that is retiring after this race. Nathan Orman, once again, not able to hold the race car underneath of him. And he takes out one of the GT Daytona drivers, and now this is Dylan Matthews' race to lose for GT Daytona. This championship to lose, rather, for GTD. And both championships essentially decided right off of the start. And funny enough, it is the two drivers that took one another out in the Daytona 2.4 all the way back in January. Remember that wreck going through the bus stop? So we'll have it on your screen. That wreck going into the bus stop. The two leaders of that race were Russell and Matthews. And right now, those two drivers in the catbird seats to win their respective championships. But again, we got 96 laps to go. This race is far from over, folks. A lot can happen in 96 laps. A lot happened in 5 laps. As John Andrews, I don't know if they're going to be able to repair that 98 machine. As Dustin Davis tracking back out onto the track. He is currently 4 laps down. But he knows that it is the end of the road for John Stewart, and Stewart will likely end up in the garage area after this race. As for the race lead, Caleb Rose to the inside of Dano Georgi. Georgi looking to fight back in the 84. He'll get the run off of the corner as they head down the chute out of turn 7. Drag race down the drag strip. Zachary Fitzwater in 3rd. Riley Sampson in 4th. Looking to have the inside ledge going through 7 is Georgi. Rose not giving up yet, but he doesn't have an edge. And he'll tuck back in line in the 2nd spot. Top 2 and GT Lama tracking away a little bit from Zachary Fitzwater as those two nose to tail through the corner as Dustin Davis back onto the pit lane. Nathan Orman down for repairs as well. Off into the gravel goes the 84. That's going to be the mess up that Caleb Rose wants. Rose trying to get the corner going into his hard braking zone into 6th. He's not able to hold on to it. Georgi holds back in, reeling in these top 2 is Zachary Fitzwater. Back within striking distance here for GT Le Mans. And Dustin Davis, he might be stuck doing touch and goes. Colin Bear off track once again in the 9. Same thing for the 25. Contact between Brown and Nagora is into the outside wall. Goes to 16 of Durrani. Owen Miles just trying to hold on to that 59 car. Did not have a good start. Got run into on the start by Eric Monaco. And right now, Daniel Bouchard, the pole sitter, has led the most laps so far. Fastest lap belonging to Connor Monaco, who's not championship eligible, but Bouchard going underneath the 33 and the 6. He's going to pass a couple of the slower GTLM cars here today as Dylan Matthews just trying to run well in this 26 car. Oh, goes Josh Harmon in the 8 machine off of the wall. Sliding up was Nagora and the 75 as somebody was going off track for a brief moment. Before the race lead, lap traffic getting in the way of Dano Georgi, and Caleb Rose will have the first lead change in GT Le Mans on lap number 8. Nathan Orman once again holding up the field. We'll see if he takes out any more of his competitors, as John Stewart has officially pulled it behind the wall in the 98 at the 56, the 72, and the 99. Can stay out as we had cars go around in the back. Believe that was Matt Lagasse and Brooke Paquette who went around in turn number 9. You'll see the replay on your screen. And again, Riverside, like Autumn Hill, looking a little unsuspecting for a lot of these drivers, but it definitely takes as Igor Barreto tracking back in the 14 machine. Lagasse is down into the pit area. It's been a tough season for the New Jersey native in that 60 car, and he's gonna go into the brief offseason with no wins. He will track back as Roberto Crown Jr. hard into the wall. That was right in front of the 26. Dylan Matthews just trying to survive here. She knows what's at stake. And Eric Monaco, not the start, the exact opposite of the start that he wanted, especially with Jaden Russell out front with all the space in the world. Alex Lozano also caught up in an incident early in the 43. Buchanan is back out. I don't see. There's the 56. He is off the pit lane. So John Stewart is going to go home empty-handed in GT Daytona, and that's such a tough break for John. Like we said, was one of the more consistent drivers fighting for this championship. No wins on the season, but you don't need wins to fight for a title. Was 6 points back of Michael Brown, but Nathan Ormond, like he usually does, ruins everything. And tough break for John Stewart, who will go back to the drawing board in 1 month and will try to capture his second GT Daytona crown in the Daytona 2.4. And he'll have a month to prep for it in that number 98 machine. Already 10% of the way through today's race. Rose Fitzwater bookending the 84 of Georgi. So it goes Rose, Georgi, Fitzwater, Sampson, and Ream, your top 5 for GT Le Mans. Jaden Russell sitting towards the back in that number 8 machine. If I'm Russell, I'm just letting all of these Le Mans cars pass me because GT Daytona being led by the 8 machine, tracking back a little bit further. as Russell will move underneath the 4 car. We'll see if Michelle Gavineau looks to make it 3 wide into the corners. She will not. Gavineau will try to set her sights on the 8 of Russell. And back into here, still deep in this GT Daytona field, is Eric Monaco, and that's why if I'm Russell, I'm just trying to hemorrhage as many spots as you can. Because again, this 2 car only needs, he needs 10 positions over Jaden Russell, and he is currently, Russell right now, who's sitting in 14th, is 7 seconds behind. And the 2 last time by is 19 seconds. So that's about a 12-second gap between the 8 and the 2. We'll see if that increased, and it did. So a 12-second gap between the 8 and the 2. Russell just trying to back off here a little bit so he doesn't... He's not racing for anything. He's not racing for the small picture. He's racing for the big picture, the championship. And it's rough that it would be decided in that way, but that is the way that the news goes sometimes here in the FMGTC. And back in here for GT Daytona, a similar story right off of the start. Running in second is Dylan Matthews. Her closest competitor, Michael Brown, running in the 7th spot. Again, Brown has a 16-point cushion over Dylan Matthews, which is about 4 positions on the track. So Brown is able to get back up in this battle, trying to get around Ryan Durrani, who's a little ways back. Josh Harmon has a little bit of damage, so we'll see what Brown is able to do for that. But it's a very long race. A lot can happen, especially in these S's. Like we've seen already, you see how tight they go. They get going into 5 and 6, all the tire marks that are on the track already, especially going into this heavy braking zone in turn 6. That has eaten up a lot of drivers. Both the Kubota GT Championship over on the Napa Fans channel. And here today, we'll see how far back Igor Barreto is. And he is pretty far back to do anything about the championship fight. And everything has calmed down just a little bit here. So far for both classes, but still very early into the race. It's going to be about a 90-lap race, we figure. Probably about maybe 90 to 100. Bradley Ream holds the fastest lap, about 1 minute and 7. As the Lamar field just jumbling all the way back in here. Got a couple of separate fields for the LM guys. Of course, got this top pack of about 10 cars. Then you got 11th through 13th, and then 14th through 16th being led by Jaden Russell. And then you've got all the scraps back in here as Eric Monaco looks to move underneath the 26. Dylan Matthews will let him by. She's going to have a little bit of a run off of the corner. Those two side by side down onto the drag strip. And again, Michael Brown's not out of this championship battle yet. He's going to get around Igor Barreto, who, rather, not Igor Barreto, Roberto Crown Jr., who's tracking back a little bit. There is Igor Barreto with damage to the wing on an aerodynamically dependent track like this. That's likely going to be at the end of the day for Barreto. You just never know, as Alex Lozano has been caught up to by the Lamar field and is still Caleb Rose out front in that number 5 car. Rose, who was way out of the championship battle by a long margin, still looking for his first win in the FMGTC. Dano Georgi looking for his second win of the season. Same thing for Zachary Fitzwater. Riley Sampson looking to be one of only a handful of drivers that have won in all 3 series here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Obviously, has won in the Mission Barbecue Cup Series. He won the Season 1, the 2024 championship of the Winston All-American Series. I do believe that he won a race last season. We will indeed double check that. And right now, looking to have a decent run here today, running in P4. Again, long way to go. And a pretty long way to get there, as Riley Sampson, despite winning the championship, he did not win a race. Owen Miles did win 3 of those races. I forgot about that stretch that Owen Miles had. As the Winston All-American Series will return in 2024, whole new slate of tracks, beginning with Darlington in mid-January, featuring tracks such as Darlington, Pocono, return to Willow Springs. Vancouver will make its debut here on the NSRN. Same thing for Pensacola. Langhorne, which Riley Sampson flipped at, if I'm not mistaken, will make a return to the NASRN for the first time since 2020, and season finale will be at Coca-Cola, with a lot of new tracks on that schedule. In fact, every track is new. No Daytona, no Talladega, still a lot of super speedways. Greenville, Spartanburg, Pensacola, and Coca-Cola being the super speedways for that course, the course of that season, as now lap traffic is going to come in the way of GT Le Mans. And the Daytona drivers still fighting it out. Nathan Orman continues to drop in through the field in that 4 machine. We'll see what he does with Dylan Matthews. He's already taken out 1 GT Daytona championship competitor. We'll see what he does with Matthews, as Matthews and Logan Williams will move to the inside. Matthews looking to make it 3 wide through the corner. This will be tight going through 9, and a textbook move there from the 26, a 2-for-1 special, as Dylan Matthews gets around both Le Mans and Lapdown Le Mans cars, as Logan Williams continues to hemorrhage positions in that 6 machine. It is just not been the season that you want for that 6 car. He continues to drop through like a stone. As Michael Brown looks to reel in both Josh Harmon and Ryan Durrani. Harmon falling back in the 88 rather. If Michael Brown's able to gain a position, that'll be 5 more points that'll get on to Dylan Matthews, and Matthews has got the 8 of Daniel Bouchard in her gun sights, looking for that race lead in GT Daytona. Jaden Russell is in his own zip code as the field will begin lap number 19 this afternoon. Just past the halfway point in the opening run of today's race. Remember, the pit window about 34 laps to 36 laps. So 2 crucial stops will be on the dock, and we'll expect these guys to come down at about lap 34 to 35, and then lap 70 with about 30 laps to go, essentially splitting this race into thirds. As Micah Knapp will be put a lap down in the Project Wildfire 56. Knapp right in front of the 40 of Ream. Knapp winning the inaugural Daytona 2.4 over on Alex Graham's channel. All the way back in 2018, I want to say that was. Same thing for Griffin Lynn, if we can find Griffin on the racetrack. Deep in the field, really deep in the field. There he is in the 1 car, got shuffled back in the opening chicanery. As the 4 and the 6 continue to fall back, Brad Stouffer and Connor Monaco looking to get around these two. Roberto Crown Jr. up on the chopping block as he's been able to get around Daniel Bouchard, but you see a little bit of damage on that 33 machine. He's able to get around Dylan Matthews, rather. Legacy, Buchanan, and Alexander, the next trio of cars on the chopping block for GT Le Mans. Legacy right in front of Caleb Rose as they go into the carousel. Fifth of the way through the California Christmas Classic in case you were just tuning in. And, well, lap number 1 and lap number 4 pretty much not setting the championship in stone, but it has been set in wet concrete so far as Caleb Rose looks to get around Matt Legacy. Jaden Russell right now sitting in 13th, while Eric Monaco got caught up in issues on the start. John Andrews, one of the closest competitors to Dylan Matthews, being knocked out. The same thing for the 14 car, who is deep in this Daytona field right now, as Rose is able to get around the lap down machine of Matt Legacy. Next up is Nathan Buchanan, who these drivers will catch in about 2 laps time, I'd gauge. There you see Igor Barreto fighting with the 72 of Dustin Davis. Barreto getting turned around on lap number 3 by Logan Alexander. And ever since then has just trying to play catch up. Currently sitting in about the 15th spot in GT Daytona. Fortunately for him, Dylan Matthews has been sitting in 2nd this time. She's not been logging laps led. Daniel Bouchard has been dominating this race. Remember, Bouchard is 101 points behind Matthews. Behind Michael Brown, rather. Matthews is right on the tail of this 8 car. If Matthews somehow runs into trouble, same thing for Michael Brown, Bouchard could get enough points to end up having a shot at this championship. That is wishful thinking. He needs a lot to go right. He needs a couple of Christmas miracles to occur. But Bouchard has been doing his job in the race car thus far. But the destiny of the championship a little bit out of his hands. He needs some external help from above. He wants to end up winning the title at race's end. Buchanan right now in the firing line of Caleb Rose, who is about 15 car lengths back of the 99. Dano Georgi, who's been trying to get that lead back ever since surrendering it on lap number 12. Currently sitting 3 car lengths behind this 5 car as they go through the S's for the 23rd time today. Brooke Paquette also in line to be put a lap down as we look through the rest of this GT Daytona grid. Dylan Matthews looking to put the pedal to the metal. She doesn't want to risk anything, especially Daniel Bouchard potentially getting up into this fight. But the 2 Mustang Cobra variants leading the way for GT Daytona at the moment. Brad Stover right now rocking P3, the Mexico City winner, looking for his 2nd win of the season. Connor Monaco with that Screamin' Eagle 21 machine. Wondering what would have happened, what would be different if the last 3 races did not yield poor results for that 21 machine. Both Monaco brothers racing right now in a little bit of vain as they try to get back up in here for their respective championship finals. It is a tough road to hoe for Eric Monaco right now as he sits deep in this GT Le Mans field, sitting all the way back in the 18th spot, while Jaden Russell is only 5 positions ahead of him, but Russell 7 seconds behind the leader, 25 behind the leader is that too. Monaco just continues to lose time to the aid of Jaden Russell, and he's going to need some divine intervention if he wants to hoist the championship at the end of the race, as Buchanan has been caught up to by Caleb Rose. He will be sent back to the boondocks through this Daytona grid. Top 5 drivers all on a rope going down the back straightaway. Into the carousel they go. Rose now with the 71 of Logan Alexander in his sights. It's going to be a winless season for Alexander, who will return next season for the WAS competition, we'd assume. Riley Sampson and the 62 machine of Zachary Fitzwater getting a little close for comfort. Fitzwater will retain 3rd spot, and falling back into the clutches of Bradley Ream is Riley Sampson. Russell continues to get around a couple of these Le Mans drivers. Matt Lagacy has gone behind him. We'll see where Buchanan is lap down-wise between the 40 and the 3. Russell is just trying to play it safe. In 13th, would have the championship locked up the way that he's running right now. You just never know with these things, as Logan Alexander will be put a lap down. Brooke Paquette will be caught up to Georgi gets put into the outside wall by the 71. A little close for comfort there on the front stretch as Georgi will try to track back with this 71 machine of Alexander, and that'll put Rose way out front in the 5, and now a little bit of breathing room between Rose and Georgi for the moment, as we're a quarter of the way through the race, about 10 laps away from the opening set of pit stops. As Paquette will move to the outside of Rose, getting around Alexander is Georgi. But just as getting rid of the insurance car was Georgi, another insurance car will be put between the 5 and the 84. We'll see how the 84 will move to the inside of the 31, trying to sell her a dummy, and he did. Good crossover move from the 84 of Georgi, but that's going to cost him a little bit of time. Here's Fitzwater right on the back end of the 84 car. Those two nose to tail going through the corner. Riley Sampson elects to go the long way around that 31, and he will. Weem will slide back into 5th in the 40. As for the race lead in GT Daytona, Dylan Matthews up front of that 26 machine. The second lap she has led, and like we always say, it's not a race on the NASRN without us missing a pass for the race lead. But increasing her points lead at the moment right now is Dylan Matthews at the front of this field. Daniel Bouchard is probably going to end up being eliminated from letting Matthews lead a couple of laps. That will be 5 bonus points to Matthews. So the way they run right now, at the moment, Matthews in 1st, and 6th is the 25, but essentially 7th is the 25 of Michael Brown, who has just been trying to get around Josh Harmon for the longest of times. As Russell moves back in here, trying to get around this 20 car, going the long way around. Skylar Taylor is just barely gonna keep off that 8 car. That was a wee bit close for comfort there for Jaden Russell, who was just trying to baby it to the end of this race, but he has got a lot of pitfalls in front of him. If I'm him, I'm just letting Seb Palmer go past. Although something happens to Jaden Russell, Seb Palmer would be in the catbird seat to potentially get something done in the championship Russell letting Palmer go by. Same thing with the 45. We'll see if he fights her on the inside lane, as on the pit lane is Josh Harmon. And that'll give one more spot to Michael Brown. It was a flat tire for the 71. I don't see Logan Alexander on the track. Harmon was one on the pit lane. I don't know where Logan Alexander went. There's Alexander. I think he might have a flat tire now as he's put a lap down. Actually, he came down the pit lane. And I think he just came out and had a flat tire. And Ryan Durrani will also come down into the pit lane, so hold on, folks. A lot of these drivers coming down a little earlier than we anticipated. I don't know if Durrani's looking to go a 3-stop strategy. He was in 5th when we last saw him. Oh boy, that got close right there for Stapleton. He gets split 3 wide as Brooke Paquette down into the pit lane. And that was right in front of Jaden Russell, and that could have been disaster for the championship leader for GTLM. As he is around a lot of lap down traffic, but he'll move around everybody with ease for the most part. So 31 will come down the pit lane. A lot of drivers with issues and trying to repair some damage. We saw the same thing at Autumn Hill, with a lot of the drivers that had issues in the early going came down early to repair damage. But conversely, that's going to put him about a 4-stop race. A 3-stop race, rather. It's a bold strategy, and it didn't work out for a lot of those guys. But nonetheless, Caleb Rose continues to lead the way for GTLM. 3 cars on a breakaway. 4 if you count the 36 is a 6 of Logan Williams will be the first GTLM car down the pit lane. Logan Alexander is down as well. Same thing for the 56 of Micah Knapp. Knapp is out and away in that 56. Some long pit stops for these drivers trying to repair damage. Right on the back end of this 26 is the 8 of Bouchard as the fight for the GT Daytona race lead will heat up. Coming off the pit lane is the 6 right now. The 26 would have 110 points. So right now would finish off the season with 815. Michael Brown running right now 10th. Fall all the way to 10th. I believe Michael Brown. Is Brown on the pit lane right now? Barretto is in, and Brown is on the pit lane. So here we go. Remember, Brown did have to come down and repair some damage. Same thing for Igor Barretto. That might screw Michael Brown out of a championship. I don't know if he's going to be able to stretch it. Remember, these guys can do about 36 laps. If he's able to stretch it to lap 68, lap 68 is going to be the magic number. I think he can stretch it to lap 65. If Brown is able to stretch it to lap 65, he will be able to make it a 3-stop race. That's very, very costly for Brown as he, a 19-second pit stop, 15 flat for Igor Barretto. That might be the fastest time of the day. I don't know if he took 4 tires or not. If he did, 15 flat for GT Daytona. The fastest time on here as we're right at the 1/3 of the way mark through the race. Connor Monaco will come down the pit lane. Loading that Screamin' Eagle car with loads of fuel. Alex Lozano also coming down the pit lane. We'll see what the 26 car does Hearing her downshift a little bit. Does she like to come down? No, she does not. She will stay out, and she'll run this run all the way to the end. Colin Bayer staying out of the 9 car as well. Split strategy all across the board here in GT Daytona. Meanwhile in GT Le Mans, Caleb Rose continues to show the way, trying to get around this 31 car once again. Rose will see this run to completion. He'll come down in about a few laps. Do any of the Le Mans drivers try to split this race into exactly 2/3 of the way down the middle? Skylar Taylor will. The defending race winner last month will come down onto the pit lane. We'll see what she does. Eric Monaco will pick up a position, trying to get around the 59 of Owen Miles. And into the pits goes the 45. 4 tires all the way around that A&W Jaguar XKR. Jack is dropped, and away she goes. 14:36 off for the Jack for the 45. Right now, the fastest pit time for GT Le Mans. Back in here. Staying out an extra lap where the Daytona leaders, Dano Georgi, is in. Pitting on lap number 35 is the 84. Joining him is the 56, Jaden Russell. When does the 8 car come down? He's backed off a lot from the fight with that 20 cars. Alex Lozano is next to the 20. Those two side by side going up through the S's. But Georgi, the pole sitter, will come down on lap number 35. And Eric Monaco is down as well in the 2. We'll watch this 84. 4 tires going all the way around in that 84 car. 14:36 the pit time to beat. Out and away. 14:28. Right now, Dano Georgi with the fastest pit stop of the afternoon after stop number 1. The Daytona leaders will stay out as right in front of Daniel Bouchard. The 84 splitting the 2 Daytona leaders in half and putting a pick between the 26 and the 8. But that pick is going to be very, very short, as on fresher rubber on a GT Le Mans car. Dano Georgi is easily going to be able to get around this 26. Zachary Fitzwater is in. A couple of cars going off into the dirt. That was Brooke Paquette doing some agricultural work. Caleb Rose will elect to stay out. Fitzwater bringing it down into the 62, and Jaden Russell will come down on lap number 36, right on the money on the run. Russell down onto the pit lane. 14:28 is the fastest pit stop to beat. Colin Bayer out and away in the 9. Here comes Dylan Matthews down the pit lane. Jaden Russell out and away. 14:39, not the fastest pit stop of the day, but still a fast one. Dylan Matthews and Daniel Bouchard coming down the pit lane. Owen Miles is out. Griffin Lynn is in. Same thing for Brad Stover, as the podium drivers will come down for Daytona. 4 fresh BF Goodriches and a gas tank full of octane racing fuel. The call for the 26. She is out and away at 15.8, as everybody will come down for GT Le Mans. The Daytona leaders will come out nose to tail of the pit lane as it's feeding time for the Le Mans cars. Rose will lead them out. We'll see how the 26 will shuffle back out. Michelle Gavinou will be between the 26 and the 8 as Dylan Matthews looks to work those cold tires. We'll see where Michael Brown comes out into relation to the 26. I believe he is going to be 4th right now, as Matthews will retain the race lead. Off of the pit lane go the Le Mans cars. 15:03. Not the stop that you want for Caleb Rose. He might lose the race lead after that, and he does. Dano Georgi out front with the undercut proving its worth. And a little bit of a slow stop for Caleb Rose will mark him back into third. Zachary Fitzwater bookending those two into the 62. Georgi back out front, and that will cycle pretty much everything. No, Michelle Gavinou did stay out a lap. I believe she will lead a lap this time around the start-finish line. And Gavinou will log a lap. Lead is going to come at a cost as Tatiana Nagora making slight contact with the 12 machine. Dano Georgi will easily get around that 12 car. The undercut proving the way to go. And Michael Brown may have cut off a little bit more than he could chew there. He is going to be in third for GT Daytona. Scratch that. Blake Bavillier right now in first. Bavillier has yet to make his pit stop. I believe that he just did. There's Bavillier in the 11. He came down. Bavillier will be third. And Michael Brown will be fourth. With Dylan Matthews with a wide gap over the 8 car. Nathan Orman trundling down pit lane in the 4. And that will cycle everything out once Georgi comes around to complete this lap. That should officially cycle everything out as Nathan Buchanan back onto the pit lane. And it will indeed be the 84 going back to the top of the pylon. Fastest pit time for GT Daytona is Igor Barreto right now, as far as we know. Going through the field, and actually let's officially go through the field as Dano Georgi will catch up to some lap down cars. Let's go through the field. Presented by Twisted Tea. It's time for Twisted Tea Race Break. Through the field presented by Fram. Dano Georgi in the lead. Second is Zachary Fitzwater. Third, Caleb Rose. Fourth, Riley Sampson. Fifth, Bradley Reams. Sixth, Blaze Zebratar. Seventh, Daniel Voiles. Eighth, Mike Vincent Jr. Ninth is Aguirre Sato. 10th, Felipe Santos. 11th, Seb Palmer. 12th, Jaden Russell. 13th, Skylar Taylor. 14th, Reggie Fogelman. 15th, Nathan Stapleton. 16th is Michelle Gavinou. We believe that 17th is to be Nathan Ormond. Actually, 17th is Logan Williams. 18th is Ormond. A lot of lap traffic all in front of Jaden Russell here. Here's Roberto Crown Jr. And Eric Monaco is actually 18th. 17th is Owen Miles. 18th is Eric Monaco. And that'll pretty much do it for the GT Le Mans grid. And now on here for GT Daytona. Big gap between the 26 of Dylan Matthews, who is first. Second is Daniel Bouchard. Third, Brad Stover. Fourth, Blake Bavillier. Fifth, Michael Brown. Sixth, Juan Rodriguez. Seventh, Griffin Lynn. Eighth, Tatiana Nagora. Ninth is Igor Barreto. And 10th is Connor Monaco, who are currently being put laps down by the 84 of Dano Georgi. 11th is Ryan Durrani. All the way in the back there is Dustin Davis. 12th is Josh Harmon. And that'll pretty much do it for the grid. As you see, Skylar Taylor, Colin Bear, Nathan Buchanan, and the championship leader, Jaden Russell, caught up in an issue off camera. Well, that is not what Jaden Russell wanted. Who did he run into the back of? We don't know, but through the field, they were going in Jaden Russell. will see his day likely come to a close. I believe he ran in the back of Felipe Santos. Remember, those lap cars were having issues, and the 8 machine with issues. You'll see the replay on your screen. And Russell, I think he's just going to try to repair the damage in that 8 car. But remember, I think even if Russell wrecks out of this race, if he finishes 21st, Monaco still has to finish 11th or better. Oh boy, that turns the tables in this one quite aggressively. Jaden Russell with an issue in the 6, and he is done. Russell will finish last for GT Le Mans, but he is not out of this one yet, and rather Sebastian Palmer. Palmer is 10th. Oh boy, Palmer is kicking himself that he did not have a good qualifying run. But Palmer right now was 90 points behind Jaden Russell. He's going to gain about 50 points. Oh boy, Palmer. He's not only kicking himself for a poor qualifying run, he's kicking himself for wrecking out at Autumn Hill on Thanksgiving. If he doesn't wreck out of that race, Palmer is the odds-on favorite to win this championship. Now he has got a lot of work to do, and for Eric Monaco, he knows that that 8 car is in the garage area, but he feels helpless right now to what he can do. Was 49 points behind Monaco, needs to finish 10 positions ahead of him. Right now, is only able to be 5 spots ahead of him. And that completely flips things over. Well, if things stand the way they do right now, we're going to have our second straight race where the champion fails to finish it. Oh boy. Only in the FMGTC, ladies and gentlemen. That is all I can say, as Igor Barreto will be under fire from Tatiana Nagora, as more lap traffic will come in the way of everybody for GT Le Mans. Meanwhile, back in GT Daytona, it is still the Dylan Matthews show, as Matthews with a big lead over Daniel Bouchard. Those two in their own zip code at the moment. About 7 seconds over Daniel Bouchard, rather. Bouchard is in second. 66 of Brad Stover, rather. Eric Monaco watches helplessly as the 8 car will go to the garage area. Not much that Monaco can do, but just try to run his race and hope and pray that a lot of Le Mans drivers run into issues. Let's see right now. So he would need the 59 to run into some issues, and I don't know, not a whole lot of drivers in front of the 59. We need Skylar Taylor, Michelle Gavineau, and Nathan Stapleton. We know Stapleton has been a little bit of a wild card in this race. But same thing for Reggie Fogelman. He needs everybody. Monaco needs everybody from Fogelman on back to the 59 to have an issue. Stapleton and Gavineau, I can see. Gavineau, this is the longest race that she has run since Watkins Glen, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how well she ran. Oh boy. I don't know how well that she ran at Old Spice. But oh boy. Things once again being turned on to their heads as we approach the midway point in the California Christmas Classic. The way that things stand right now, Russell, we'll do the math right now quickly, as we will watch. We're going to try to find Dylan Matthews, as more trouble for the two. I think Eric Monaco may have went off course in the two machine, and it's not what you want. Igor Barreto right now, 2 laps down in the 33, but losing more time to the 59. As Bouchard will be on the back end of the 26, we'll do the math for GT Le Mans. Bouchard right on the back end of this 26. So Jaden Russell with his first last place finish of the season will have 761 points. Monaco, who came in with 711, right now running in the 16th spot, is nearly a disaster between the 26 and the 8. It would be about a 30-point lead. It would be a 30-point lead for Jaden Russell, where Eric Monaco is running right now. Now for Sebastian Palmer, who is 90 points back. Palmer right now running in 10th. Would still need about 40 points to get up there. Basically, Palmer needs to get his rear end in gear and get up into this battle. Is off course, goes the 40. Bradley Ream is off track. He's able to gather it up back in going, runs off course just a little bit. Palmer looking to pick up 5 more spots. He'll have a run to the inside of the 40. And that'll put Palmer at 730 points. The way that they run right now. We'll see if Ream will come down onto the pit lane as we'll take a look at that spin. A tough break for Bradley Ream, who is running in 5th. Ream will just gather back and go. Will not come down the pit lane. And now, only a handful of laps away from leading the most laps in the race is the 26. Michael Brown now under fire from Dano, Georgia. I will go back in here to GT Daytona. Let's pretend that Dylan Matthews does lead the most laps. So that would be 115 for Matthews, plus the 705. So that would be 820 points. The way that they run right now. Let's pretend that Matthews finishes in 2nd, because Daniel Bouchard has been knocking on the back end of this 26 car for the better half of 5 laps. So that would still be 105 points for Matthews with the lap led bonus, with the most laps led. That would be 810 points right there. And Michael Brown, who is currently sitting in the 5th spot, would gain 80 points, and that is just going to be not close. It's going to be about a 15-point gap between the 26 and the 25 right now for Brown in a late season surge in the 25. But Dylan Matthews, who has been dominant all season except in the last couple of stages, as Juan Rodriguez has crashed in the 75. Mike Vincent Jr. also destroyed in the 78. Vincent Jr. was running in 7th at the time, and that'll be 5 more points for Eric Monaco. That'll end the season for Juan Rodriguez. Tough break for him. And that'll in fact be 5 more points for Sebastian Palmer. So Russell right now Shaking a little bit in the garage area. We'll see where Monaco shakes out in this. Monaco will gain 5 points. Same thing for Russell. And now Russell. Again, that's an outlier. A lap down driver taking out a lead lap car as we are officially at the halfway point in today's race. Roberto Crown Jr. back down the pit lane. And up front for GT Le Mans, that man right there, the 84 machine of Dano Giorgi, will lead the field to the halfway point. And that is where we will take our only commercial break today. 50 down, 50 to go, cross flags. Here for Dano Giorgi in GT Le Mans. He leads the way, and back in here for GT Daytona. Dylan Matthews looking to get both the win and the championship for GTD. You are watching the California Christmas Classic live from the Riverside International Raceway on the NASRA.
25 years of design and thousands of man-hours on product development. Flowmaster measures real performance where it matters most. Delivering the power you want, Flowmaster's complete family of performance mufflers outperforms any other street muffler with a sound and tone that's right for your vehicle.
Check out our website, flowmastermufflers.com.
20 people didn't change the steering ratio, so do this once.
We have issues.
Whopper, 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 whopper.
And we are back here from the Riverside International Raceway, completing lap number 52 of today's race. Trey Wright on the call for the North American Sim Racing Network. And while we were away, Tatiana Nagora with a piston failure in the 22. That new paint scheme not helping her a whole lot, as Nagora will end her season with a mechanical failure. Of course, we see the 78 and the 75 still in the pits. Rather, Juan Rodriguez has pulled it behind the wall. Same thing for Mike Vincent Jr. But Dano Giorgi, if we can find the 84 car, I believe we passed him. There is Giorgi. Currently leads the way, a 4.5 second lead over Caleb Rose in GT Le Mans. But the big story coming into the second half of the race, Jaden Russell taken out on a crash in the late stages of the first half. But he still holds the championship lead in GT Le Mans by only 20 points. Mike Vincent Jr. was taken out. That was 5 points in favor of Eric Monaco. And Sebastian Palmer is not done yet in that number 20 machine. Palmer, who was 90 points behind Russell, now trying to cut his way into that point lead as we focus along with the 20 machine. If you remember last month's race, Palmer was in the catbird seat to make this a three-way battle for the championship lead. Went off the front end of Tatiana Nagora's number 22 Viper, pirouetting into the air at Autumn Hill. And is just trying to make up for any positions that he can get. In the late stages of this one, Felipe Santos is a lap down in the 64, as Michael Brown for GT Daytona will be lapped by the leaders for GTLM. And Dylan Matthews right now in the lead for GT Daytona, has led the most laps in this race so far and is looking to add on to that as we approach the second set of pit stops in today's contest. Glad we could join you on a balmy Christmas afternoon in Central California. We look at Nathan Buchanan in the 99 and the 4 of Nathan Ormond, who took out the 98 of John Andrews on lap number 4 of this race. It was going to be a dogfight for the championship as Igor Barreto was down the pit lane. Remember, he came down early. It is going to be a 3-stop race for Igor Barreto, who is not having the day that he would like to have. Another blistering fast pit stop for the 14 car. So he will likely have the fastest pit stop for GT Daytona. It's going to mean everything in vain, however, as he comes off the pit lane right in front of Colin Bear. Right now the 14 currently a lap down. Might go 2 laps down here shortly with the 84 barreling down on these GT Daytona leaders. Led still by the 26 of Dylan Matthews, who we mentioned that lap 4 accident with the 20, with the 4 and the 98. Matthews was about 2 inches away from getting clobbered. Remember, the 98 and the 4, when the 98 and the 26 were running nose to tail on the 4, had issues, lost control, and it's a 50-50 chance between Matthews and Stewart, as Matthews will move to the inside, looking to go 3 wide underneath Alexander and Bear. Alexander moves up high, crossover move from Colin Bear. And Matthews, the benefactor of Andrews being taken out. John Stewart, like we said, has been taken out. Igor Barreto having issues all day long. And he is about to be put a lap down over Dylan Matthews. Although he does have fresher tires, but you see a little bit of damage to the roof on that 14 machine. Cobra's running in a line right now. So we check back in here. Eric Monaco, currently running in the 15th spot. He needs to climb up to 11th. And he is right on the back end of this 59 car. We'll see what lengths Monaco is able to do in the late stages of this contest. All these guys back in here. Monaco still on the back end of this 59 car. We'll see if he's got to run to the inside. Both these cars got a little bit of damage to them. You see the front end crinkled a little bit on that 59 of Miles. Dustin Davis, who right now running 6 laps down in the 72, just trying to log as many laps as he can. He is being flanked by Williams and Skylar Taylor. Taylor right now on the back end of this 72 car, trying to get around Dustin Davis. Davis blocks her down to the inside, nearly runs the 45 into the wall. It's Alex Lozano still on the pit lane. An issue for the 43, a brake issue for Alex Lozano. That'll end the day for the 43 machine. Tough break for Alex Lozano as he'll see his season end. And he'll have to rack it back up at Daytona in about a month's time. Matthews will take lap number 58 of the afternoon for her. She has led the most laps. Bouchard trying to give chase as somebody went around into the back. I believe those tire tracks were for from the 78 and the 75's issues. As up to 8th is Sebastian Palmer. Palmer was able to get around Bradley Ream. Hoping to have some more issues. Up front is Palmer and the 2 of Eric Monaco. and able to get those fiery shot brakes replaced were the 43. So Alex Lozano is not going to be competitive as there's another position for Monaco. Up to 14th is the 2 car. But he's got a long way to go to get up to Nathan Stapleton, who right now is the car to beat in 11th. But Lozano will rejoin the field. Teleported back to the pit lane after losing brakes. An extended stop for that 43 car. Now Monaco will put a little bit of distance between himself and Owen Miles as he now sets his sights on the 45 of Skylar Taylor, who right now is running quite a ways away in front. It's a 12-second gap between 11th and Monaco. So Monaco just trying to kick that 2 car into high gear and hoping that his competitors run into some issues. Caught in deep lap traffic is Dano Georgi, who is seeing his 5-second lead over Caleb Rose diminish just a little bit. Rose in clean air, and you see that 5 car barreling down on the 84, but now Rose is going to have to face that same heavy lap traffic Georgi did. Georgi to the inside of Brad Stover, the 3rd place car in GT Daytona. And he'll get around him with these. The 2 leaders will be side by side as Griffin Lynn caught up in an accident. Tough break for Lynn in the 1 machine as he'll go back to Daytona looking for his 2nd crown. Matt Lagasse losing control into 1. That was right in front of Aguirre Sato, and Lagasse able to just barely keep the wheels under him. You'll see the replay of what happened to the 11 car on your screen. And yeah, that was an issue with Michelle Gavinu. That'll be another position for Eric Monaco. Michelle Gavinu caught up with a lap down car, and Gavinu wasn't able to get down the pit lane that last time by. Oh, Eric Monaco going wide through the corner. He turns around. Monaco and Miles are off track. Miles keeps it around. Harmon is off. And disaster just barely averted for that 2 machine. That may have that almost delivered the championship on a silver platter to Jaden Russell. But now Gavinu, who was running in 13th, that'll give 13th to Eric Monaco. And don't look now, this championship is still far from over in GT Le Mans for GT Daytona. Michael Brown falling deep in the field in that 25 machine. And remember, he short pit that last time by. Remember, the magic number for him to make it was lap 65, and we'll see when the 25 will come down the pit lane anytime before lap 25. Lap 65, rather. And the 25 is going to end up going for a 3-stop race compared to the 2 that everybody else has been running. There is Josh Harmon, who stalled in the sand trap. And catching up to the leaders for GT Daytona is the GT Le Mans leader. Trying to get around the 71 car first. Up to 13th. Now is Eric Monaco. Only 2 cars to beat. Monaco right now just trying to Hail Mary it. And we still have a long way to go in this race. We'll do the math right now. Officially. As Monaco moves underneath of the 16. Palmer wasn't able to get any time, as like we said, Gavinu was running in 13th at this time. Russell was 761. And 711 points for Monaco, plus where he's running right now in 13th. $751, so it's actually a couple more positions than we anticipated. Because remember, last place does get a point. So, actually, no, it is. So, 760, so up to 10th is where Monaco, if Monaco gets to 11th, that'll put Russell and Monaco into a tiebreaker. Oh, I don't even know what the tiebreaker would be, as Reggie Fogelman is down the pit lane on lap 64. Michael Brown trying to log one more lap around before he comes down onto the pit lane. And if somehow Monaco and Russell end up in a tiebreaker, both of them have one win apiece. I really don't know what we would do with the tiebreaker. We've never had a tie in the FMGTC before, or at any rate, any series on the North American Sim Racing Network before. We've been close a couple of times. Riley Sampson and Lucien Bianchi in the WAS last year. Toby Murphy was close to making it a tiebreaker when he won the NBCS Championship this season. But right now, it's a 10-point gap as Michael Brown is down the pit lane. Currently on lap 63, 2 laps down. It might be a 2-stop, it might be a 3-stop race for Michael Brown. And if that is indeed the case, that's going to give this championship officially to the 26 of Dylan Matthews. If she stays out of trouble, that is the big thing. And Matthews needs to stay out of trouble and end up just cruising to a championship. But again, we've seen that trouble has been the name of the day, has been the soup of the day for a lot of these drivers here this afternoon, as Paquette will make her final pit stop of the season. Harmon is out and away. Back in here for GT Le Mans, the GTLM leader, right along with the GT Daytona leaders, and a lot of lap traffic in front for Caleb Rose, who is up to second. Sada will surrender third to the 56 of Daniel Voiles for the time being. And Ormond right now, right in front of this 26. Matthews trying to get around this 4. Ormond looking to block. Matthews right on the tail end of this 4 car. She'll dive it to the inside of Ormond. Through the corner they go. Nearly some contact between the 4 and the 26. And Ormond is going to let this 26 car go past. Now what does Daniel Bouchard do in the 8? He's got 2 Le Mans flanking him from either side. He's trying to get around the 4. He's trying to hold off the 84. Does he get a little bit of a push from that Corvette? A Corvette pushing a Mustang, I find that hard to believe. Bouchard now losing time to the 26 as he looks to get around to this 4 machine. He'll duck to the inside of Ormond. Same thing for the 84. Back in here, Logan Williams and Dustin Davis racing together as everybody looks good so far in GT Le Mans. Michelle Gavineau retired. She will join Mike Vincent Jr. and the 8 of Jaden Russell in the garage area. And right on the back end of Daniel Bouchard is Dano Georgi, coming around to take lap number 68 of today's race. Getting around the stricken 56 of Micah Knapp. Knapp keeps it off the wall. Taking the long way around through the S's is Georgi. He can't quite get around this 8 machine. They've both gotten past Nathan Orman and Micah Knapp. Now the fight is on and the fight is finished. Georgi is around the 8. Now will set his sights on his companion leader, Dylan Matthews, with all the time in the world. We'll see the 25 and the 14, her only championship competitors, in front of her, ready to be put down a lap, as Colin Bear will come into the pits in the 9 machine. Back up at the front they go. Matthews will see the GT Daytona leader in her rear view mirror, and she is praying to little tiny baby Jesus. 8 pound, 6'8", 6 ounce tiny little baby Jesus. That is not a repeat of the Daytona 2.4 from this season. We mentioned it earlier, how Dylan Matthews and Jaden Russell, the 2 championship favorites right now, with just a couple hairs over 30 to go, took each other out in the Daytona 2.4. Dustin Davis and Reggie Fogelman ended up winning that race. Davis is not going to win the championship here today. Neither was Fogelman, who was taken out of contention after the last race at Autumn Hill. Matthews with this 84 car hulking right behind her will let him move to the inside. Georgi's got a run going into corner number 8. With the inside lane he goes. Matthews just trying to let this 84 car past. To the inside goes Dano Georgi, and he'll officially put the GT Daytona down a lap to begin lap number 70. And right in front, Bradley Ream with an issue on the 40. He blows an engine right in front of the 2 leaders. He can't get onto the pit area. And another issue for a GT Le Mans driver. Not sure what happened with him. I don't know if he tried to come down the pit lane, as down into the pits was the 45. And Caleb Rose also with an issue on the 5. Hold the phone. 2 more GT Le Mans drivers with issues. And right now, that'll put Eric Monaco up to 9th. Reggie Fogelman also with an issue in the 06. We had a huge incident somewhere on the track. And Monaco right now will take the championship lead with 30 to go. The racing gods giveth, the racing gods taketh, as right in front of the field, Logan Alexander runs right into the 40. As the limp LP files not really working there for the 40. As all hell breaking loose in GT Le Mans, and that is exactly the Christmas miracle that Eric Monaco needed. He is up to 9th. Now can he stay there is the question. Up to 6th is the 20. Now the 20 needs Eric Monaco to run into issues. Oh boy. As we'll take a look at what happened on your screen. Riley Sampson was caught up. Same thing with the 06. I don't know who else is left. I believe Skylar Taylor may have pitted. So I don't know if that position is correct for the number 2. No, he's up to 8th, so Skylar Taylor, rather Owen Miles is down the pit lane. Here we go, final set of pit stops happening. Ream will come back down to the pit area. As Jaden Russell, now seeing his championship go down the drain. Still a lot of time to go in this race. and anything can happen. I'm surprised we have not caught a single incident besides the Jon Stewart and Nathan Orman crash on our cameras. It's a camshaft issue for the 40. Once again, GT Le Mans is a bloodbath. And we might have to see even if Eric Monaco crashes out. Because right now, Monaco running in 8th. Here comes Dylan Matthews. She'll surrender the GT Daytona lead. And Monaco will make his final stop of the day. 4-tire stop for Monaco. We'll see what the 26 car does on the pit lane. She surrenders it. Remember, the undercut is the way to go here. I don't think Daniel Bouchard planned to come in on this lap. Out and away goes the 26. Palmer just barely able to put on the brakes in the 20. Palmer will come down the pit lane in the 20 machine. Blaise Zebratar will go to the front. Fresh rubber for Eric Monaco. He looks to get back into this contest. Now for Monaco, he is 8th. He needs the 6 and the 5. Remember, the Caleb Rose is going to be in the garage area. Logan Williams right now is 2 laps down. I believe Eric Monaco, even if he wrecks out, actually, if Eric Monaco wrecks out, right now between him, 9th is Fitzy, 10th is the 45, and 11th. 12 cars remain on track right now. Eric Monaco just needs to not wreck out of this race, and he will be the champion. Back in here for GT Daytona, Daniel Bouchard just now getting onto the pit lane. Dylan Matthews, I believe, is going to blow past this 8 car. Bouchard is out. Matthews with a full head of steam coming out of turn 9. This is the battle for the win in GT Daytona, and there it is. Bouchard will transition back out onto the track, and with just a couple clicks over 25 laps to go, that might be the championship for both classes. We'll see how everything shakes up and who the leader will be. Blaise Zebratar is being shown as the leader. Monaco right now a lap down. He'll get it back for the moment. Skylar Taylor. I believe Dano Georgi is actually going to be the race leader, and Georgi going to try to get underneath this 45 of Taylor, right in front of the 26 of Matthews. And it is indeed Dano Georgi who's going to cycle out to be this race leader right here at the tail end of this race. Still on the pit lane is the 3. Zebratar is going to stay out to lead a lap. Eric Monaco just needs to run 25 clean laps in the 2. And he is home free. He does have a lap over the 45. Trying to find where Skylar Taylor is right now. Monaco just needs to run 25 clean laps, and he is golden. But that is easier said than done. He's going to have to get around a lot of lap traffic. And back out in front is Dylan Matthews. Josh Harmon will now climb to 2nd in GT Daytona. Actually, no, that is Daniel Bouchard who is still in 2nd. My apologies. And there is Skylar Taylor. Or there is Dano Georgi. And now getting around the 2 machine is the 59. Monaco trying to fight hard for that position. Remember, he's going to fall down to 9th. He cannot fall down to 11th. Monaco fighting hard on the inside. Will transition to the outside of the 59, going through the carousel. Miles trundling around him. He'll get the spot back. Monaco trying to get there, looking for the crossover on the inside. Miles bobbled, going onto the front straightaway. Logan Williams is on the pit lane in the 6th, something going wrong. And if Eric Monaco is able to keep the wheels under his car, that'll likely be it. Same thing for the 26 of Dylan Matthews. But hold the brakes, the 25 is all the way back in 4th. As falling down to 9th that last time by was the 25, or the 2. But now he's back out in front of the 59. Nathan Orman will rejoin the field once again. And in fact, yeah, Eric Monaco just can't wreck out because there's still a lot of GT Le Mans cars remaining in this race. Back out in front in the 8th spot, closing in on 30 laps to go. It's going to be a heartbreak for Jaden Russell, the dominant car of the season. Trouble off camera. Dylan Matthews moves underneath the 99 of Nathan Buchanan. Buchanan moves to the outside of the 26. Dano Georgi out front. 9-second lead over Aguirre Sato. Skylar Taylor and Daniel Bouchard will fight next to each other. Taylor is 1 lap down, remember. So that is a little bit of a cushion that Eric Monaco has over Taylor. There is the 25. Remember, he's had a 16-point lead over the 26, but with the laps led bonuses, Dylan Matthews right now is just going to barely, the way that things stand at the moment, is going to eke out this championship. But she still has a long way to go. Miles trying to catch up to Bear, rather Monaco trying to catch up to Bear. That might be the last lap down car he catches up to. Meanwhile, up to 5th is the 20 car. Palmer has been picking them off one at a time. But he had a 90-point gap over Jaden Russell. He might eclipse that if any of these lead lap Le Mans drivers run into issues. Though close for comfort there between Dylan Matthews and Nathan Buchanan as another driver going off track for a brief moment. But again, a lot of these drivers are going to be at the end of runs on old tires at the end of this race. Closing in on 20 laps to go here at Riverside. Monaco, the point leader for GT Le Mans. The championship leader for GT Le Mans, I should say. Matthews, the championship leader for GT Daytona. The way that things stand right now here at Riverside in the closing stages of this race. Get a look at Roberto Crown Jr. coming onto the pit lane. Catching up to the 9 is the 2. Only 9 cars on the lead lap. And now catching up to a plethora of lap down cars is that 2 machine. The 16 and the 9. Ryan Durrani's got damage. Looking for a hole is Monaco. Here comes Miles to the inside. Monaco just trying to get around 2 lap down cars. Same thing for Miles. Miles blocked by the 16. Here comes the 2 to the inside of the 9. Getting around that 9 car with ease is Eric Monaco. He'll slide around through the corner in that 2 machine, picking off 2 lap down cars and putting a gap between himself and the 59. with 80 to go here at Riverside. Job's not over yet, as Dylan Matthews will be passed by Sato and Voiles. Sato now looking to make a move to the inside of the 26. Huge gap between the 26 and the 8 car for this race lead right now. Palmer just trying to get around as many GT Daytona cars as he can. He got around Fitzwater last time by. Fitzy got him back. We'll see what the 20 is able to do running through the carousel. Trying to get behind this 62 car once again, deep in lap traffic. You see all the tire marks from the incidents here this afternoon. Palmer just trying to play aggressively in that 20. He knows what's at stake, especially if Eric Monaco has some sort of issue with 20 to go from Riverside. Again, it is far from over in this race. In case you're just tuning in, you've missed a good one. Eric Monaco just trying to hold on to that 2 car to a championship lead. Monaco right now running in 8th. Just needs to finish 11th or better, actually 10th or better, to claim the championship. If he finishes 11th, that goes into a tiebreaker. Anything under 11th, and that'll swing in the direction of Jaden Russell. But Connor Monaco, his younger brother, in front of Eric. Igor Barreto will come back down the pit lane. It has been a tough going for the 14 car. Barreto down into the pit area. Tough day for Barreto in that 14. Still looking for his first win. Not going to come here today. Closing in on 15 laps to go in this 2024 season of FMGTC competition. Check back in with Dylan Matthews, running her race with Igor Barreto in front of her. A couple of Le Mans drivers in front. They are non-factors. Next car in line to be lapped is the 88. Matthews running her race. Same thing with Monaco. Matthews won at Papyrus. Monaco won in Canada. Monaco with his younger brother in front. Alex Lozano and Blake Bavillier. Only a handful of GT Daytona cars on the lap down chopping block for Monaco to deal with. And Dano Georgi, who has led the most laps here in GT Le Mans, looking for his second win of the season. It'll be a little too late. Georgi is not able. Georgi uneligible to win the championship, was 202 races worth of points behind Jaden Russell coming into this race. He'll set his sights on Daytona in the upcoming NBCS season here in 2025. Into the wall goes the 7 and the 71. Nathan Stapleton, who is in front of the 2 of Eric Monaco. Monaco does not want to see any drivers wreck out in front of him. Needs to finish 11th or higher. 10th or higher. Right now running in 8th is that G-Mac number 2 machine. Closing in on 15 laps to go. Here from Riverside, you see Brad Stover. A little bit of damage there in the 60. There's the 8 of Daniel Bouchard, the pole sitter. Just trying to get a win here, but the dominant driver of the afternoon. And all season long, aside from the couple of screw-ups over the last couple of weeks, has been Dylan Matthews. She's hoping that she can keep the wheels under her for the next 15 laps. It's Connor Monaco has been caught up to by his older brother of Eric with 16 to go here from Riverside, and that is going to begin a long chain of lap-down cars that are on the block for Eric Monaco to get around. He's hoping that more GTLM drivers have issues in front of him. Dano Georgi is caught up to Matt Lagacy in the 60. We're going to watch and see how this two-car gets around lap traffic. Starting off with his brother, Connor. We'll see if he even tries to get around this lap 21 machine. He's got Orman in front of him as well, and to the inside of Connor goes Eric. Two Monaco brothers running side by side down the back stretch with 15 to go. Eric in the 2, Connor in the 21. Alex Lozano in his beat-up number 43 in front of this 2-car. A lot of lap traffic for Monaco to make his way around. Same thing for Dylan Matthews. She moves underneath the 14 of Igor Barreto. Micah Knapp next up in line to be lapped by the 26. Back in here with Eric. We'll look to get around Alex Lozano. Lozano blocking him going through the S's. Monaco looking to get around him any way he can, trying to tiptoe through the tulips around this 43. He goes wide through the corner. Keeps it off the wall, however. To the inside he goes of the 43. Connor will follow suit underneath Alex Lozano. Next up is Nathan Ormond and all these drivers. And again, we're at the end of this run as Josh Harmon a little off track and a little close for comfort as Igor Barreto. Remember, he's on fresher tires than this 26 car. He's got a little bit of damage. It's making those cars just a tad bit even. And Dylan Matthews is not out of the woods yet. She gets a little shot from behind as around in front of Dylan Matthews goes the 33 and the 88. And a hard shot from Matthews. She's got nose damage in the 26. And the GT Daytona Championship leader, snake bitten once again. It doesn't look like it's too much damage. It'll give the race lead to the 8 of Daniel Bouchard. But where is Michael Brown? Brown all the way back, still fighting with Skylar Taylor. Does Matthews come down the pit lane is the question. It looks like to be purely cosmetic damage, but she's coming down the pit lane. That might be the championship for Dylan Matthews. But remember, Michael Brown did pit before lap 65, so I believe he might have to make an additional stop. Taking the nose quickly off of that 26, and she is out and away. Michael Brown will now take the championship lead for GT Daytona. Drama in the late stages of this race. Eric Monaco now gets around this stricken 26 machine, but now, how far in front does the 25 able to go? And now we got to think about Blake Bavillier being potentially in this mix. Now Bavillier is behind Michael Brown, but Bavillier right now running in the 5th spot for GT Daytona. He's 50 points behind. I don't know if it's going to be enough. But again, we believe Michael Brown has to make an additional pit stop in the late stages of this race. But if he is able to stretch the gas He has to worry about Blake Bavillier not taking him out first. As we take a look at that incident, Crown Jr. getting caught up in an accident right in front of the GT Daytona leader. And Le Mans and Daytona cars do not mix. We know that for a fact. And now deep behind that 25 car is the 26. It's Eric Monaco will look to get around the championship leader for GT Daytona with 11 laps to go, closing in on 10. All this happening behind that 84 machine, and Daniel Bouchard looking to go 2 for 2 in the Golden State. Coming around to take 11 laps to go here at Riverside, and this has been a race for the ages, and this has pretty much just been an exclamation point on a chaotic opening season of FMGTC competition. And I got a feeling that we are not done yet from championship shenanigans, as Monaco will look to go in front of these GT Daytona cars. Georgia about to come under the flag stand once again. Dylan Matthews trying not to come up short in the 26. You see a lot of that front bumper barely hanging off of that 26 car. Monaco now puts the 45 another lap down. I'd gauge that he's going to catch up to about these next 5 cars in line for GT Daytona. With 10 to go in the inaugural season of the FMGTC. Bouchard, your leader for GT Daytona. Michael Brown, the championship leader for the class. After Dylan Matthews, it wasn't anything that she did. It was just chaos, which is always the soup of the day here whenever the FMGTC races, and Michael Brown trying to hold on for the next 10 laps to win a championship for that number 25 Viper team. Still a long way to go. 9 to go as they cross under the stripe. Dano Georgi, the dominant car of the afternoon for GT Le Mans, trying to run away with this one. Aguirre Sato is 10 seconds back. Making 11 seconds back is the 84, is the 49 from the 84. But the main focus is, does Michael Brown have the gas to get to the end? Remember, he came in on lap 63. I don't know if Brown is going to be able to make it. Trying to get around that 56, a hard block in front there from Micah Knapp. Here comes Bavillier scooting to the inside. Bavillier trying to take that position away. Michael Brown fighting aggressively on the back end. Remember, Dylan Matthews does have 10 bonus points. So this might be the battle for the championship right here, as Brown gets around the stricken 56. We'll go to the numbers right now in a moment, as Eric Monaco about to catch up to these lap down drivers right here. Michael Brown right now sitting in third. That would put him at 90 points. That would give Brown 811 points as he moves underneath the 16. So 811 for Brown. And then Dylan Matthews, where she runs right now. She runs in 6th. That would give her 790 points. So 790 versus... It's going to be very close. But I think with the way that where Michael Brown is running right now, he should have the championship. Again, 811 points. Versus, so that would be 10 bonus points for Dylan Matthews. Matthews just needs Brown. Matthews needs Brown to run out of fuel, because Brown, even with the bonus points, is still only, or Matthews with the bonus points is still 6 points behind Michael Brown going into the rest of this race, as Josh Harmon off track in the 88. Here comes the 11. Bevillier looking to make a charge, looking to go the crossover with Eric Monaco right behind them in the 2. The 2 championship leaders being on top of one another here in the late stages. 6 laps remain in the California Christmas Classic. Georgi has gotten around Dylan Matthews, who is 2 laps down in the 26. Matthews just hoping that a couple of GT Daytona drivers run into issues late in this race. Can Brown get to the end? Remember, he came down a lap 63. And these guys can do about 36 laps. It is going to be very, very close. Brown is going to have to save as much fuel as he can. Georgi coming around this time by to take 5 laps remaining in the FMGTC season. Here's Brown and Monaco. This is the battle we're watching right now. Bevillier being sandwiched between 2 drivers in the championship leads. How does Monaco get around Bevillier, and how does he get around the 25? Here comes Monaco to the inside of Bevillier. Bevillier try to fight hard on the inside lane, but he is not going to have the straight line speed that 2 car has got. And remember, this is happening right in front of Dano Georgi, so once Georgi takes the checkered flag, same thing for the 8, wherever the 8 car is. There is the 8. These guys are going to have maybe half a lap to do anything about this. Championship leaders will take the 5 to go mark, as Monaco right on the back end of Michael Brown. Both these drivers know what positions they are in, but Monaco doesn't care. To the inside of Brown goes the 2 of Monaco. Bevillier helping his Viper on the outside, but if I'm Brown, I'm just trying to back out of this battle. Brown was not giving up. Monaco trying to go to the inside. He will go. And Brown, knowing the position that both of these drivers are in, will secede to the 2 machine, and that might be the championship if Michael Brown is able to save enough fuel. Dano Georgi trying to navigate his way through the Le Mans traffic. He is behind Nathan Orman. Josh Harmon will likely be the last car that Eric Monaco has to pass, and he will be home free. Brown continues to stay out. Back in here for GT Daytona. We'll see where that 26 car is. It's going to be heartbreak for both Matthews and Russell again. Shades of Daytona, where they took each other out and they were destined to have good regular seasons, but not able to put it together at the end. For Matthews, a late season collapse is what it's likely going to be if Michael Brown is able to hold off here with 3 laps to go. I believe he should make it. Brown should be able to make it to the end. Remember, he is only 1 lap down. He's going to make it to 99. He's going to make it to 99 laps. That car is going to be sputtering. The way that he has been running. Owen Miles now looks to get around the 11 machine. It's all over but the crying for Eric Monaco. If he gets around Josh Harmon, Miles looking to get around this 11 and 25 and throw one more monkey wrench into this wacky inaugural season for the FMGTC. But Dano Georgi will take the sticks high, this time by 2 laps to go in the FMGTC season for Dano Georgi. Aguirre Sato right now running 8 seconds back, was able to close in a couple of seconds. 2 laps to go for the 008 of Daniel Bouchard, looking for his 2nd win in California. Monaco is able to get around Josh Harmon. He will get the sticks high in the air as well. Same for Michael Brown, the 2 championship drivers, nose to tail. 2 laps to go for Brown and Monaco. Monaco looking for his 1st ever championship on the NASRN. Brown in his 1st ever season and series on the NASRN, looking for the title. Bavillier got caught up with Owen Miles behind Brown. Now does Brown have the gas and the ability to get around this 8 machine? Here as Dano Georgi takes the white flag, 1 lap remaining in 2024 for the FMGTC. Georgi up through the S's for the final time. Daniel Bouchard will take the white flag this time by here for GT Daytona. Back in here. Here is Michael Brown back on the tail side of that 88. He'll have the inside lane going up through the corner into the carousel for the penultimate time. White flag in the air for Eric Monaco. One more time around Riverside for Brown and Monaco. But coming through the final corner, dominant driver of the day, leading wire to wire in the 84 machine, checkered flag GT Le Mans will go to the 84 of Dano Georgi. Georgi wins GTLM. Back in here for GT Daytona. Not going to be the dominant driver, but another wire-to-wire victory. Started on pole, he's going to finish in that same spot. 2 for 2 in the Golden State goes the 2 machine. The 8 machine, rather, of Daniel Bouchard wins for GT Daytona. And off for the final set of corners, they're going to come in together. GT Le Mans first, GT Daytona second. Eric Monaco survives the chaos off of turn number 9. Monaco, the 1st ever winner for GT Le Mans. Corner number 9 goes to 25. He's got the gas. And Michael Brown, the 1st ever champion for GT Daytona. What a race. What a finish. And it's 2 Christmas miracles for both Monaco and Brown. Heartbreak once again for the 26, who was 2 laps down. Nothing that Dylan Matthews could do about it. Dano Georgi winning the race. 4 different winners here today. For Michael Brown, the first time he has led in the points this season, if I'm not mistaken. And for Eric Monaco, finished 8th. Jaden Russell finishing in 21st. Monaco officially declared the champion Finishing third was the 25. Finishing sixth was Dylan Matthews. Michael Brown is your champion. Same thing for the 2. Holy Toledo is all I can say after that. Take a look at your official race standings. Daniel Georgi and Daniel Bouchard get the wins here for GT Le Mans and GT Daytona, respectively. Take a look at all of the chaos, all the cars that wrecked out. Once again, GT Le Mans is a tire fire. Jaden Russell finishing in last, giving the championship to Eric Monaco, who came in 49 points behind, needed to finish 10 positions ahead of Jaden Russell. He does that in spades, getting a couple of points to boot. Monaco is going to have a 2-point lead, and Michael Brown holds on to the fragile point lead that he had and is able to remain in the point standings here today after 12 months of competition. We have our 2 winners, our 2 champions here in Riverside, Eric Monaco and Michael Brown, your official champions here in the FMGTC. What a race. What a finish. What a season. It has been the first ever Grand Touring season completed here on the NESRN. And, oh boy, I'm getting ready for the Daytona 2.4 right after this. But Monaco, your champion, same thing with Brown. And ironically, Brown does deliver over the UPS driver. I feel gutted for both Russell and Dylan Matthews. And ultimately, it was those Daytona takeouts that were the difference between those 2 drivers. And ultimately, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes here in the FMGTC. But we'll rack them back up and do it all over again next season in about a month's time. We're going to go straight to the top for Season 2 for the FMGTC. But that'll do it here from the Riverside International Raceway. Congratulations once again to Dano Georgi and Daniel Bouchard for winning the California Christmas Classic. And a big congratulations once again to Eric Monaco and Michael Brown for winning the 2024 championships for GT Le Mans and GT Daytona, respectively, for the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. And thank you to everybody for tuning into this season. I know it's a little truncated, especially at the end. In reality, recording this race on Christmas Eve and probably going to upload it sometime around New Year's. But nonetheless, thank you all so much for tuning in to today's coverage and all the season's coverage of the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. And we'll see you in about a month's time. We're going to have sign-ups first. And for the new season, new drivers, we're going to have roll call first on January 1st. Then on the 2nd, it'll be, or whatever. On the 1st, it'll be roll call. Then, on whenever that Friday is, we'll have sign-ups. And then we'll get that all figured out in the State of the Union. That'll be uploaded on December 30th, which is just going to go over everything here for the 2025 season of NASRN competition. But that officially concludes this season's coverage of the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. Here are your final point standings after race number 12 of the FMGTC. And from Riverside, California, on behalf of the North American Sim Racing Network, my name is Trey Wright. Have a great holiday break, folks. We'll see you in a month's time down at Daytona Beach, Florida for season number 2 of the FMGTC here on the NASRN. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.